Welcome, Kraig Kann.
Doug, I want to personally thank you because you have proven already to me that it's completely comfortable to go well over your allotted time. So thank you. Thank you very much. I also hiked up my pants before I walked up here as well. That's a good look for you.
Would you like the barrel?
Have a great day, Doug. Thank you. Appreciate the time. I'll get you a moose head later. It is flat out, folks, an honor for me to be here. I mean that. Jeff, thank you. Natalie, you're the best. And Leslie, Doug, even Doug. Doug's funny, actually. Doug's funny. I coach presentation skills. I always tell people, if you're going to start with funny, you better be really funny. Because if you're not funny, it's really tough to get your audience back. He did a great job. The hospitality already, phenomenal. In a word, I mean, I crossed the border. I flew up from Orlando yesterday. I got to the border. Gentleman says to me, "Hello, sir, how you doing?" I said, "Great." He said, "Could I have your passport?" I said, "Sure." He starts looking at it. I say, "By the way, if I didn't have my passport, what would have happened?" He said, "Well, see that building over there? We'd have put you in there for hours upon hours of questioning." I said, "Oh, great to be here in Canada." And I actually really enjoy Canada all the time. He then said, "What are you doing here?" I said, I'm here to give a big talk." He said, "What's it about?" I said, "About an hour." I said, "You want to come?" He said, "No, thanks. Carry on. Have a nice day." He was a great guy, actually. We talked a little golf. It was fun. And I remember hosting shows on Golf Channel years upon years ago. Remember the show Viewers Forum? Anybody? Early days? I hosted that show. And I'll never forget the number of phone calls that we took and the fact that about 95% of them were from Canada. It was crazy. Let's go to Bob in Ontario. Let's go to Jean. She's from Saskatoon. I'm like, anybody in the United States watch golf at all? But everybody in Canada does. And yesterday and today, I've been doing my SiriusXM show from here in this hotel, gave everybody in this organization a plug. I also talked about David Hearn and Graham Dillette, just for the heck of it. Okay? Got to do that. Got to show the love to Canada. Okay. Let's take a look at some of this. I, folks, have been here. I've been here. I want to tell you right now, before I ever get started, I want to be clear on my message. I hear this all the time. We need to grow the game. We need to grow the game. Let's grow the game. You know what we need to do? We need to retain people that are in the game. That's important. What we need to do, and I want to be clear on this right from the jump, we need to grow the voices in the game. We need to grow the special people in the game that can get people into the game. And we need to grow the power voices in this sport that can retain people in the game and create the next level of people. Now, I've sat in rooms like this. I've had a lanyard on. I've been there to conferences just like you. And I'd ask myself the same questions or say the same things to myself. You know what? So what? Who cares? What's in this for me? It's not that fun all the time. But I can tell you right now, this time we're going to spend together is all about you. Every single thing that's going to happen from here out is about you. And I am honored to be able to be here and share with you. Now, with that, I want to focus on this, okay? This. You are a brand. When you walked in here today, whether you thought it or not, you are a brand. You yourself, you, your organization, you, your industry, a brand. And if you don't do that, if you don't think like that, then you're cutting your legs out from underneath you before we even have a conversation, before you even come to a conference like this, before you ever spend 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, networking, talking, listening, gathering, getting ready to take things to the next level. Brand, by definition, unique name and image. That is you, everybody within this organization. And I need you to start thinking like that. Brand is a powerful, powerful thing. Now, we're also going to have some fun for the time that we're together. Now, I know I heard a bunch of hashtags from Doug while he was up here, but here's the one I need you to do. For the next hour, how many in this room have a phone? Perfect. I am the only speaker that will ever get before you and actually say, use it. I want you to pull your phones out. I want you to use them. Pictures are fair game. Any slide is fair game. And over the next hour, there will be some moment that will resonate with you, something that will stick with you that I want you to carry out with you. And I want you to talk about it on a social media platform. How many in here are involved on social media? Great. We need to get better. We need to get bigger. It is a free service. Until somebody tells me it is pay per post or pay per view, I'm going to ride it right into the ground. So are we. That's what we're going to do. Now, here's what I want you to do. Something that I might say, something that somebody else might say when they come up here. When that stands out, I want you to post it. You can take a picture of them, or you can take a picture of anything up here. Okay? But you got to put this hashtag, Elevate. Just add Elevate, Elevate NGCOA Canada. That's what I want you to put up there. Now, if you include me at Kraig Kann or at Kann Advisory, my company, I will respond. We want to further the conversation. Now, at the end of the day, tonight, we're all going to look, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram, whether it's social media posts on Facebook, or maybe even LinkedIn, we're going to put in that hashtag. And what's going to happen is there'll be a whole list of everybody's comments. If you do this, raise your hand if you're going to do it. One post, that's all I need. One. Why? Because we need to create and build awareness for this organization. We need to create and build awareness for this brand. Otherwise, why the heck did everybody come here? What are we doing together for the next 2-3 days? Our job is to promote the industry. Our job is to create influence and awareness of that. So there's your challenge. Hashtag Elevate NGCOA Canada. That's what we're putting on there on any platform. Now, I need you to do me a favor. I would like everybody in this room, for the next 10 to 15 seconds, please close your eyes. Follow along, you got to do it. Close your eyes for me, and I want you to think about where you are right now in your career. Where is your industry right now? Where is your business? Where are you in the golf space? Now I want you to go one step further. I want you to figure out where you want to be. Where do you see yourself? What image comes to mind 5 years from now? Where are you? Where are you going to be? Who are you going to be leading? What are you going to be doing? What are your challenges? Where do you see yourself? What goals do you have for yourself? That's what I want you to think about, because it is very important over the next couple of days to think about not just where you are, but where you want to go. Okay, you can open your eyes, and I hope at some point for you, just like it has for me, the light bulb goes off. We need that light bulb to go off. NGCOA and you. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Where are you going to take people? And how are you going to get them to a higher level? See, when I close my eyes, one image comes to mind, and it is that. It is the mountain. If you look at the logo in my company, if you look at anything, thus the hashtag Elevate, it's that. It's climbing to the mountain, climbing to the top of that mountain, and having people follow you along the way. And so how many of you in here look at yourself now or think about being a leader in the industry? Please raise your hand. If you do within your organization, or you want to be bigger than you were when you showed up here, or bigger than you were last year within the golf space, then your job is to climb higher. Your job is to push yourself to get to the next level. Your job is to take people with you as well. Your job is to be a recruiter, a promoter, an ambassador. But if you're not climbing, if you're not willing to push yourself, to Doug's point, if you come here and just take notes and hang out and don't get outside your comfort zone, then you're never going anywhere. And if you don't push yourself, then who will follow you? That's my question for you right now. Who would follow you? We have to constantly push ourselves. That's our goal. And so I start with this question. Glad you have your pants back on. Sir, please come on up here for me. Yeah, oh yeah, right up here. Right up here. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm great.
You're great. That's fantastic. That is your microphone. I want you to answer this question for everybody here in this room. I want you to tell them who you are and why in the world we and everybody in this room should care about you. Who are you and why should we care? come on, come on. Center stage, come on, right over here, come on. There you go. There you go. Take it away.
First person you find in the audience, eh? It's got to be me. That's good. I know a lot of people in the audience. My name is Brent Miller. I'm Vice President at ClubLink. We own about 53 golf courses in Ontario, Quebec, and Florida. And I have two of my distinguished team here with us as well. And your question of me is to why should...
Well, see, it's right here. This is a monitor for you. Or you could look over there. But who are you and why in the world should we care?
Well,
I'll give you 10 more seconds.
You should care because it's embarrassing to be caught off guard and to be vulnerable in front of everyone, and you should have fun with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
perfect.
Yeah, I probably have a bit of information to share with everybody and can contribute to
Brent,
effort this week. So.
Thank you for being up here. Please give Brent a round of applause. Brent, for the record, I didn't bring you up here to embarrass you. I do it for CEOs, I do it for coaches, I do it for student athletes, I do it for heads of all organizations. The purpose is twofold. Number one, I know that most people don't have the answer to that question. And we live in a world of very short attention spans and reasons why people aren't going to pay attention to us. They are too busy. They are too distracted. Our job is to get people to focus and pay attention. But it is your job to do that. Now notice I didn't tell you 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I wouldn't let you go 10 or 15 because Doug took all that time. But I would let you go a minute or two. But you didn't necessarily have the answer. And most people don't dig deep to figure out who they are, let alone share it to somebody else and tell them why they're worthy of somebody's attention. And I don't care whether it's you as a person, it's also got to be your business as well. Now, the other reason that I do that is not only to bring him up and prove my point that most people don't know the answer to that question, but I also know that when I bring him up here, each and every one of you says, oh God, he's bringing me next. And they start looking at their phones, chatting, hey, what are we doing after this? Focusing on something else. Hopefully I won't see you. Trust me, I see you back there, okay? I'll visit you in just a moment. But having said that, I get everybody's attention. You all paid attention to him when he was up here. You waited on the edge of your seat to see what he would say. Now, whether you realize it or not, that's the power that you have. And so my challenge to you is that you have to know what your story is. Who are you? Why are you special? Why should you stand out? If you are a brand, if you are an organization, if you run a golf course, if you are in this industry, there are so many other people that do the same thing. Why you? There's a lot of sportscasters. There's a lot of people that do leadership workshops. There's a lot of people that run communications for organizations. What makes me special? How do I stand out? You have to know your story, each and every one of you, and you cannot be afraid to share that story with everybody else. So I'll give you a little help. I'll give you my story, okay? I grew up in Chicago on a street called Woodland Avenue, about 30 minutes from downtown, 2-story house, and I had my room on the second floor with the coolest orange shag carpeting you could ever imagine. So I was the kid at age 8 that knew exactly what I wanted to do. I was that kid. I wanted to be a sportscaster. I wanted to be a broadcaster. My parents gave me a microphone and a tape recorder for my birthday once upon a time. And I, a huge Bulls fan, Bears, White Sox, all the teams in Chicago, I broadcast those games by myself in my room. If you're a Bulls fan from long ago, you know Chet Walker, you know Bob Love, passes it over into the corner, shoots, scores, Bulls beat the 76ers 103-100. Bulls postgame brought to you by Pepsi-Cola. We're back with more right after this. That was me at age 8. All right, my brother was not allowed in my room, okay? My buddies were. They could be a part of it. They could be the color commentator, but they couldn't be me. I got to be the guy in control. That was how I got my start in broadcasting. At age 13, I got my start in marketing. I determined that the Sun-Times and the Chicago Tribune did not do an effective job of promoting the teams that I love so much. So you know what I decided to do? I took it upon myself to create my own sports page, the Kraig Kann sports page. I'm not lying, that was the headline on the top of it. 7 pages, I hand wrote all my commentaries, put statistics, drew pictures, talked about all the teams that I loved, and then I went down to the local library, Thomas Ford Memorial, 2 blocks from my house, made photocopies on my own, came back to my house, stapled it, and then whether you wanted it or not, on my block, Woodland Avenue, tied into Grand, tied into Central, you got the Kraig Kann sports page. Now, whether anybody actually read it, I have no clue, but I knew I had to market it. I went to a very large high school, 5,000 students, played 3 sports. I worked at the local radio station there as well. Broadcast games. Quit basketball my senior year. I wasn't going to play that much. I went to the University of Missouri, at the time the only school in the United States that owned and operated an affiliate TV station. KOMU was run by the university. So you, junior, senior year, got to be the reporter on the local news. Not the paid anchor. They had real people that did that at 6 and 10, but they would go live to Jefferson City for breaking news. Here's Kraig Kann. And you had a resume tape by the end of the deal. You got to try out to be on the air, and you could anchor the cut-ins at 7:25 and 8:25, and I loved it. And I spent my time there with some super talented people. John Anderson, ESPN, one of my guys. When I left, I went to Columbus, Georgia. For you college football fans, Reese Davis was at one station, I was at the other. I then went to Fort Myers, Florida. My co-anchor, Hoda Kotb, The Today Show. Then I went to Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Michigan. All along the way, really into golf, okay? I spent 4 years there. I got a phone call from my agent at the time who said, guess what? There's this new cool opportunity called the Golf Channel, and they want to fly you down for an interview to be a reporter and a host on this show called Golf Central. They flew me down first class. Now, they flew me back coach. I never could figure that out. To this day, I can't figure that out, and the 25-year anniversary is coming up, and I just got asked to be a part of that. I'm kind of excited about that. But I was given 24 hours to make a decision as to whether I wanted to be one of the original 6. I'm not talking hockey here. By the way, I went to get food last night. I know I'm in Canada. I go down to watch college football. There's 2 hockey games on. Anyway, having said that, I was given 24 hours to make a decision, and I jumped on it. I came and spent time at the Golf Channel for 18 years. Hosted almost every show, traveled the world, interviewed 5 presidents of the United States during that time. I am not on this stage without that opportunity. Then I get a phone call from Mike Wan, the commissioner of the LPGA, who says, I want you to come potentially be my chief communications officer. Help me raise the level of awareness of the organization. You'll probably tell me I'm crazy, but that's what I'm looking for. I had a decision to make. I made it. I gave it up, quit cold turkey television, and did it for 5.5 years, left after the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. I was there in Rio. I got 9 injections, so I didn't get the Zika virus. I mean, I never saw a mosquito the whole time I was down there. It was ridiculous. I'm good for influenza. I'll never get, any of these other things you could possibly get. I got everything covered, but I never saw a mosquito. I left in 16 to run my own business because I felt like, for a long time, this question: am I just making another show, or am I making a difference? Am I doing something to elevate other people? Can I give something back, share stories, help them to go to a higher place? That's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. So the question becomes, can you carry others to a higher level? Can you bring that value to other people? It's important. And the question that we all have is this. It's the challenge for all of us. How do we stand out? I coach people on it all the time. Can you stand out when you stand up? Amidst all the white shoes and all the golf courses that are in Canada and all the people that do what you do, can you separate yourself and be the green shoes? The color green is important. You can't be the white. How do we do that? That is the challenge for all of us. Doesn't matter what our profession, what our industry, we got to find a way to separate. Your organization, how is it different than the one that's in the United States? How is it different from other golf industries? Who in this room is a difference maker? Who can get people moving in the right direction and bring people along for the ride to take them to a higher level? That's our challenge. And you know something? We have to get noticed. Each and every one of you has to find a way to get noticed. Golf needs it. If we're going to challenge ourselves all the time and say we got to grow the game, we got this challenge, we got that challenge, and I know Canada did very well last year. I've seen the numbers, heard that. Great job. Round of applause to everybody for what this country has done in golf over the last year, please. You should salute yourselves. You should be proud of yourselves for what you did, okay? That's great, but we're all fighting for it. We're fighting for notoriety. We got to figure out a way to get noticed. We got to get our club to the next level. We got to get more people playing, et cetera. Your business, your course, your staff needs to get noticed, okay? Programs that you are doing need to get noticed. But there's one other thing. There's one other thing on that list that has to tie in. You know what it is? Have a look. What is the answer to the question mark? What needs to go there? The answer is simple. All those other things are important, but it's your personal brand, a brand new way of thinking, a brand new you. Golf needs that. So with that, sir, how are you? Come on up here for me. You excited?
Of course.
I am giving you no more than 1 minute to sell us on you. You, your brand, who you are, why we should care.
I'm Daniel Pilon. Most of you know me. I own a golf course in Quebec, near the border. And the reason why I stand out, it's on my knowledge, I think.
Don't tell me, tell them.
Oh, yeah,
They're your audience, yeah.
It's on my experience. I've been in the golf industry for 25 years, even though I'm only 40. So that's why.
There's a lot of people that have been in the golf industry for a long time.
I know.
What's your greatest value?
My greatest value?
Yeah. You know, if we're all on a boat, okay, and there are 50 of us, and there are only 30 life preservers, and I kick that boat over the falls, why am I giving you one?
I don't need one. I can't swim.
Do you know Doug?
Yep.
Congratulations. Give him a round of applause. There is nothing bigger than the story that you own, than the story that you own, than the story that you own, than the story that I own, because nobody knows it better than we do. And the challenge is we've got to sell it in a way that makes it special, that gets people engaged. Now, how many of you in this room have actually hired somebody in the last 6 months? 6 months. Okay. Perfect. When I was at the LPGA, we did this thing where somebody would come in for an interview, be it on our executive team or on my communications team, and I had this little exercise for them, whether they were the big shot or somebody coming out of school looking for one of their first 2 jobs. And I said, after we had a little conversation, I've got this whiteboard that I had, small one. I had a big one on my wall, but I had a smaller one. I called it my 3 things board. So I said, here's my exercise. Left-hand column. 3 things that you have learned about our organization over the interview process, be it 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it might be. 3 things. I want you to write them down. In the middle column, 3 things in your research about our organization that you think we could do better at and how you would help. Right-hand column, 3 things that separate you from anybody else we might be interviewing for the same position. 3 things. So I'll give you 5, 6, 7 minutes. Sit over there. You handwrite it. I'll answer some emails. When you're done, let me know. So they go do the exercise. They come back. They go, Kraig, or if they're, right out of school, Mr. Kann, here you go. I said, great, thanks. Now I need you to back up 10 feet. Now I need you to present it to me. Now I'm a big body language guy, and I can tell in an instant who's comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable, who's willing to stretch themselves, who wants the stage, right? This is real estate right here, okay? This is real estate. You sell a home, a realtor puts a for sale sign in it. In public speaking and presentation, they put a for sell sign there, selling you, your brand, your ideas, all the things that we could pay attention to. Some people are like, they want no part of it. They freak out, sweating like crazy. Other people are like, hey, great, yeah. They get there, they can have it here and they read it. We all have good ideas. We can all write stuff down. We can all take notes. But when you leave here in 2 days, 2.5 days, can you go back and actually present, articulate, empower, inspire other people to follow your lead? Can you actually be a champion of those ideas and get people to pay attention? That's what I was looking for. Now, I didn't always hire or recommend the best public speaker. I wanted the person that could actually be an ambassador for the organization. Everybody in this room, I guarantee it, has a business card, right? So when it comes to building your brand, right, we get all excited about these business cards. Here's one for you. Thanks for being in the front row. For now. I hesitate, but the way you were, you might go to Vegas and be able to promote me, all right? We fight for these cards, you know that? We actually, let's stay in touch. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it very much. Craig, yes, great shirt. Hi, Nathan. How are you? Good, how are you? Great to have you. Thank you. We'll have a moose head later. People fight for these business cards. I remember when I got my first business card, you know, everybody's like, what does it say on it? What title did you get? Oh, I don't want to be the vice president of sales. I want to be the senior vice president of sales. Oh, I don't want to be a communications coordinator. I'm looking to be a communications manager. No, I don't want to be a manager. I need to be a senior manager. Like, we fight for these titles, you know? We get all excited about it. Me, I run my own business. I could have put anything I wanted. I put managing director. It doesn't sound like CEO or president, all that. The bottom line is, none of those titles mean anything. At the beginning of each and every day, in 2020, starting now, while you're here, I want you to adopt the theory in your head. We are all entrepreneurs at the beginning of each day, if we so choose. You can't just have ideas. We're all somebody who has an inner genius at something, but you got to have that something that can get people across the finish line. Entrepreneurs have no fear. They'll push their ideas. They get people moving. They're not afraid to fail. They make things uncomfortable. Their backs are against the wall, but they're okay with that. Think about your greatest achievements. They ever come from inside your comfort zone? Heck no. They came when people challenged you. So find a way to be that entrepreneur. Now, each and every one of you probably has one of these skill sets with you. Executive presence, self-confidence. You walk into the room, everybody stops. They pay attention. They pay attention to you. Control and composure in tough situations. Now, I actually had the great opportunity to rewrite the crisis communications plan for the LPGA. Heaven forbid a charter plane goes down in Bangkok with 70 LPGA players, or one of the players who's a mom is involved in a domestic violence situation, or something at home with child neglect. In that war room, I need people who are calm, who actually can deliver a message. Because, see, nobody pays attention to us when everything's going great. But when it hits the fan, when times are tough, all eyes are on leaders. How will we react? How will we handle it? Organization and preparedness. Now, are you somebody who goes into a meeting and just take notes? Or do you push the envelope? Do you make people a little bit uncomfortable? Do you get them excited about the process of something new? What are you going to do while you're here? Are you just going to hang out, go with the flow? Or are you going to meet people, take notes, and go back and use best practices and things you've learned? What about personal presentation? See, my mom spent her whole career as an image consultant. I've been her guinea pig for years. I know everything about the season colors, like I'm a fall, I'm a winter, I'm a spring. Don't wear a spread collar, it makes your face look wide. Don't wear this, don't wear that. I know all that stuff. It matters. Because the minute you walked up here, everybody looked at you head to toe. Okay? Now you're all looking at me head to toe. What are her shoes? That's how it works. It's the same way in TV. When you walk into the office, what is your brand? How will people look at you? That stuff matters. Dress for success. Not where you are, but where you want to go. I tell kids that all the time. What about being a presenter? There are so many people out there, folks, who talk. Everybody's yapping. Very few people actually have something to say. Very few people actually have a message that matters. It's 10% of what I say up here. It's 90% about how I make you all feel while I'm up here. That's the key to movement. That's the key to creating connection, empowering people, and having them so emotionally tied to what you say. Can you do that? But there's one thing up here that's not on that list. Golf industry leadership, someone who builds blank. What's that word? What do you think that could possibly be? In your own head, you'll come up with something. I've got that word. There isn't a person in here who shouldn't strive for this. Influence. Green. Standing out. Getting people excited. Now, I didn't write the dictionary, but the verb capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something. The noun is a person or thing that sways opinion or makes an impact, and that is you. That is you if you so choose to be that person. And if you showed up here this week, today, for the next 3 days to be anything else but an influencer when you go back, then what are you doing? What are we doing? We all chose to have some tie to the golf space. Now we got to make an impact on it. Now, I've had all these different platforms in my career. You can look at the places that I've been. All right, I do workshops around the country for corporations on leadership, communication, presentation, SiriusXM, the Olympic Games, interviewing the greatest athletes in Rio, sitting on the set at Golf Channel, standing on the stage for Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies and representing. You have those as well. But what did I do with those influential opportunities? I want to share a quick case study with you. This is my career at the LPGA, what I witnessed, what I watched. In 2011, I got there. This rolled across my desk about 3 weeks after I started, the week after the World Series was over, and the Giants won. This is the week after the World Series, okay? Now, I'm not Rob Manfred, Major League Baseball's commissioner. I'm not the CCO or the CMO, but I guarantee you they had a talk. And that thing showed up. Are you kidding me? The NFL? Over America's pastime? When have they not had the home run swing, the champagne celebration, the MVP, whatever? We got J.J. Watt. Now, if that's what Major League Baseball has to deal with, I'm in a niche sport. I'm in a niche within a niche. Women's golf, I love everybody in that organization. We had work to do. It was eye-opening, it was ear-opening for me. We couldn't wait for people to take notice. We had to do something special to get people to take notice. That's what we needed to do. Strategic communication. Outside the box, chuck the box in the ocean. Now, this in 2011 basically sums up the mindset for women's golf. Now, she wasn't on the LPGA. There's a lot of young players that are playing out there right now, just not that young, okay? But she proves my point. This was a situation that needed help. We weren't 6 feet underground, but we weren't that far. Remember the days of 47 tournaments in the Nancy Lopez era? There were only 24 events at that time. The media wasn't showing up in droves. Television, 85% tape delayed. There's a lot of work to do to get noticed. These players are some of the best ambassadors in all of sport. The problem was they didn't have a stage big enough or a mountain high enough to shout the message. So what the heck do? You got to have a game plan. Message is everything. And over the 5 years that I was there, our organization did the following. We had presentation skills seminars for everybody on our team that mattered all the way down, because it couldn't just be Commissioner Mike Wan, couldn't just be me, couldn't be our CMO. Everybody needed to know what we were talking about. We had to do it. The players went through media coaching, had to keep them out of the penalty box, if you will. By the way, no such thing as a bad question, but there's a really bad answer. You can't ride on a golf cart after you shoot 66, go in the press room, and don't know what the questions are going to be. Frankly, as I told a lot of players, you're 66, doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Your name's on your bag. There's 154 of you teeing it up. I got 3 kids. Why am I going to invest my time in you? Why am I going to follow you around for 15 minutes? What special thing are you going to do for my kids? What impact are you going to make for me? We got work to do. We all need to know what the story is. I created a player communications committee. Every big name, you name the player, Brittany Lincecum, Stacey Lewis, In-B Park, Yanni Sen, Michelle Wee, they all said yes. Not only did they say yes, they'll raise their hand and say, how can I help? It's refreshing. And we talked about how to gain more media attention. What could we do? How could we do that? They were huge. Social fan following, we let our fans take over our sites. We let our players take over our sites. We actually did a bunch of ambassador program things where I said, here's what Mike and I are talking about when we go do our talks. You need to know these same types of things. It was a process. It was hard work. And they had to come show up. And you know what happened? 2015, 4 years later, 35 events. We had a dynamic leadership group, a lot of talented people, but we rebuilt those relationships. We got the media to buy in because we over-delivered on every time they came to cover our organization. We grew the brand, and we had 35 tournaments with a reshaped message, a bigger following, and now 90% live television on Golf Channel. Those things take work. And in 2015, another periodical showed up on my desk, and I saved this one as well. USA Today. Now, she's a tough customer, and we had to build relationships with her. And I told everybody on our team, I don't want you to worry about Golf Week, Golf Digest, Golf Channel, Golf World. I don't care about them. They're like, what? I go, they have to cover golf. I'm not going to cover a skeet shooting tournament, all right? We got to get USA Today. We got to get Sports Illustrated. We got to get the LA Times, people who have decisions to make to come follow us. It's time to pay attention to the LPGA is the best headline that I ever saw in the whole time that I was there. And for the first time in 2015, we were invited among 5 finalists for Sports Business Journal Sports League of the Year. We were all flown to New York City. 5 finalists. PGA Tour wasn't there. NBA, NFL, NASCAR, LPGA. Now, we didn't win that night, but with everybody who's anybody in sports, all the anchors, all the executives, everybody represented, probably 5,000 people in the room. When they rolled that video of the LPGA and what we were doing up there, yeah, we won. We won. We won by inclusion. We won by the power of influence because everybody in our organization played a part. Everybody. And so how does that apply to you? How can you gain something from that? I ask you this, will you lead our game? Each and every one of you here, will you lead our game, or are you just somebody who takes time and just participates? There's a difference. Will you lead the game, or is the game going to lead you in your career and you just kind of go with the flow? Go through the motions. It's a choice. It's a choice you have to make here over the next 2 days. How do you want to leave Niagara Falls? How do you want to leave to go back to your club, to your business, to your people? What type of a person are you going to be? A leader? A follower? A difference maker? I need you to adopt the theory of elevate your influence. Elevate your influence. Everybody in this room has it. You have the platform. What will you do with that? We got to get our hands on our own brand, though. We got to take control of that. It takes work. It's not that easy. Yeah, I got a brand. Great. What are you going to do with it? See, your brand isn't what happens inside this room or any other room you visit this week. It's what happens when you walk out the door. That's where your brand begins. What do people say about you? What do people say about what you say? What will people tell others? How emotionally tied and connected to what you talk about will they be? Will they be compelled to go tell somebody else what you said, how you acted, how you made people feel? Remember, 10% of what you say, 90% of how you make people feel. A lot of people yap, a lot of people talk. Everybody's got something to say. How many people actually say anything? Will you be the one who gets remembered? See, people don't have a message. Nobody remembers they were the communicator to begin with. Y-O-U-C-E-O. I want you to think about being the CEO of your brand. Become a brand new influencer. Now, every company out there now today gets people. You heard of influencer marketing, right? Little buzzword. They hire actors and celebrities. They pay athletes and coaches to take part. They bring media personalities. And in today's world, they bring bloggers too. I was at Reynolds Plantation a couple years ago. We were out at the pool at the Ritz-Carlton hanging out. Man and his wife, they were there. I asked them what they do, and the woman says, I'm a blogger. I said, really? So I looked it up. She's a travel blogger. 450,000 followers. Now, I don't know if she paid her way, but I do know the Ritz-Carlton cared that she was there, and I know she's going to get something to say about her experience. But there's something missing. There's one box that's not on this list. What is it? What group is it? Who is it? I'll tell you who it is. It's everybody in this room. It's this organization. Because you might have your group of followers, and you might have your group of followers, and you might have your group of followers. It's not the size of the room, it's the size of the message. It's how can you make people feel, and how can you bring people along? That's what matters. You all have far more influence as a collective organization than you think. You got a whole country counting on you. You got people who are employees counting on you. You got people who want to go play rounds of golf. Maybe not 163, but they want to play. What experience are you going to give them? How are you going to treat them when they're there? What are they going to leave with? What's that feeling that they're going to have? Your brand matters. And now, where do brands begin? Where do they start? In my book, 2 ways. Number 1, you got the inside world, and that's you. That's you alone. That is your alone time, focusing in on yourself. How much time do you pay spending that time and that focus working on yourself? Figuring out your strengths, your weaknesses, your greatest characteristics, what makes you special and unique from other people. I want you to think about one word that applies to you while you're here for the next 2 days. One word. I am what? If I had to come up here and say, I am this, if you had to do it, what would you say? What one word would you come up with? And now I'll give you mine. I'm an elevator. People go, what? You're an elevator? Yeah. That's what I am. I'm an elevator. And if I ever get asked, what do you do? I'm an elevator, and I run Kann Advisory Group. That's why I kick off the conversation. See, I elevate people to become better. I elevate brands in my work to become bigger. And I elevate events to become grander. What do you do? How do you impact people? What's your word? How much effort do you put into that time? It's important. So that's the inside world. And then you got the outside world, where you get to come up on a stage like this, or in a room of any size. Remember, not the size of the room that matters, size of the message. But the outside world is big. Each and every one of you has an audience at some point. Not everybody gets tapped on the shoulder to have that opportunity. The outside world is big. Now, my business, I get asked the question all the time, what does Kann Advisory Group do? Now, I want you to think about your business right now. Yours, your course, your organization. It's nobody's business but yours. You got to own it. So somebody says, what does Kann Advisory Group do? Well, we get people talking. We have seminars and workshops with leaders, executive teams, and groups. And I get them to learn how to present a message, to figure out the company's story. I get people talking. You know what else I do? Once they get talking, we create dynamic presenters that will get other people to talk about what they said. That's what we do. We empower people to stand out when they stand up. So there are a lot of people that can go up on a stage like this or in a room and they get a chance to be in front of an audience. But can they stand out and be remembered? Can you make people remember what they're supposed to remember? And then as a consultant, working with companies and organizations around the country, we show them how to take the what and deliver the wow. Why does that matter? Tell you why. Because people don't have time. And if you want to get people to notice what you do and how your organization is special, you have to take your what and create a wow. because people aren't paying attention. They don't have the time. So we have to do something that matters like that. See, influencers know how to create awareness. That's one thing they know how to do. They're good at it. They build awareness. That's why I want you all to tweet something tonight, because everybody in your organization is going to see what each and every one. I am challenging you right now to post something that sticks with you today, and then keep doing it for the rest of the week, because I'm going to be looking at it. And everybody in here should be wanting to see what everybody else puts, because it's a great takeaway. We're trying to build an awareness for your organization here. You're all collectively gathered. Let's push it out there and get everybody to pay attention. Let's do it. See, I got a Craigslist. Now, I don't sell anything on it, all right? And I spell it differently. But here's my Craigslist. Building and being your best brand influencer. Notice the word. We got to live our course. And every program that's a part of it, we got to live it. Can't just have it, we got to live it. We got to earn 5-star ratings, because 4-star ratings don't work. We got to over-deliver for people. We have to advertise differently than we thought about before. Why? Because the next generation isn't going to give you much time. You want to know what the average attention span of a human being is? You want to know what that is? 8 seconds. You want to know what else has an attention span of 8 seconds? A goldfish. You can look it up. Now, I had a guy in my workshop once upon a time. That's not a lot of time. He raises his hand. He goes, I beg to differ. 8 seconds is a long time. Everybody's like, what? He goes, well, I was a professional bull rider for like 12 years. You try sitting on one of those things for 8 seconds. You go, yeah, you got a point. Case closed, all right? We have to advertise differently than others, right? Think of what they do and how we can do it differently. Sharpen our message, sharpen our delivery. And we have to develop our brand with a purpose and a plan. We can't wish for people to take notice. Got to make them do it. It's important. A brand new you is key today. Why does it matter so dang much? You got to think about this game. We live in a society of word-of-mouth marketing. See, I'll remember you speaking up here. I'll try to forget you in a barrel, but I'll remember you and what you were saying. We will go say something about everybody. That's the world we live in. Gossip society. You'll say something about me. You'll go tell Natalie, you know, there's a lot of hype for this guy. I actually don't know that he really lived up to it. Or, you know, pretty decent. We've had some speakers. I know we had more people come here this year than any other year. He was okay. Or, you know what? Man, that thing was amazing. Whatever it is, you're going to go say something to somebody, guarantee it. You're going to say something about this conference. You're going to say something about every other speaker. You're going to say something about the programs, period. That's what we live in. So if you don't understand that, you're missing the boat. Word-of-mouth marketing is huge. They come to your course. They visit your business. What are they going to go tell other people about it? How are you going to treat them right when you get there? Career advancement's big. I don't know what you do specifically for each and every one of you, but if you want to go this way, you got to find a way to be unique and special. Think of it as an escalator. You start here, you're working your way up here. Let's say the economy tanks. And all the people that jumped off the escalator with their pensions and all that lose a bunch of money. Well, everybody's freezing now, right? They're not hiring. In Canada, they're always freezing. But anyway, the job is to stay on the escalator because you can't get back on. But if nobody's moving, how are you going to get this way? How are you going to move up? You got to have some skill set, something about you that is special, unique, and different than everybody else. The green shoes. To be able to remain on it, to be able to get back on it, to be able to climb on that escalator. Career advancement's huge, and what people say about you matters. Lastly, a bigger spotlight for your industry. Don't we want that? Don't we want more people talking about golf? We do. We do. And a brand new you can influence that. But you got to figure out what your message is going to be. The next time you get that audience, it makes a difference. Ma'am, how are you? Great. Come on up. Well, it's good, you know. Yeah, well, let's not go there. But anyway, you've got 1 minute to sell us, everybody in this room, on your industry.
Oh no, I'm the worst person. So hi everyone, I'm Melanie. I am brand new to the golf industry. That's not a joke
That's
either.
perfect. Next, let's go back on the right. No, this is
It's
good.
true,
This is
it's
good.
true. I came through a sport background. I was previously at Ontario Speed Skating Association, and now I work for the Ontario PGA. I'm the biggest phony in the golf world. I'm not yet a golfer, but I'm taking lessons, so I'm on my way. What makes me... Thank you,
We're
sir.
growing the game. We're growing the game.
I'm learning.
1 minute.
I can't sell the industry. I can sell myself. I can try that.
That's not the exercise.
Okay. Well,
You come to my workshop, I'll let you sell yourself. That's how it all starts.
Well, I'm new here, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm really excited to learn from all of you over the next 2 days. So.
Golf is the greatest industry in the world. It is a fantastic participation sport. I know everybody in Canada likes hockey, but per capita, more people play golf. Some people play 163 rounds, don't even know if they work for a living, but they're on the golf course all the time. This is a great industry. And you know what? We need to find the next generation of leaders. We need to take millennials and get them to the next level of the game. It's very challenging to get from the range to the golf course. But people like me, we're going to do it. And I'm going to be that person because I believe in this industry. I could have done anything. I could have gone and worked for, what's a big bank in Canada?
RBC.
RBC, of course it is. They're tied to the golf. RBC, and I chose this. This is what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a seat. You need that speech. You need 2 minutes of that. The value of the microphone and the stage lies only in the how and why you use it. You don't know when you're going to get called up. You don't know when you're going to get tapped. You don't know when you're going to have that audience. I've got a 3 things speech that I give all the time. I call it my back pocket speech. You got to have something. See, golf needs brand influencers. You know why? They need people who create shareable conversation. They're dynamic speakers. They talk about topics that we're maybe afraid to talk about. They got to do that. Number 2, they showcase something special. They know how to take something that's special and showcase it and put it on a different platform. They can attract followers. They get people following, which is super important today, social media and otherwise. Lastly, they get involved to make a difference. They don't get involved to get involved. They don't get involved because they had nothing else to do. They chose golf. They got to make a difference. So what I want you to think about, because this came up earlier, the idea, right? So you're all a part of this organization, but if each and every one of you over the next 2 days comes up with one thing. In 2015, I gave a light bulb at my staff meeting in January to everybody there. With a Sharpie, I wrote, 2015, what's your bright idea? And the minute it came up, I told them, bring the light bulb into my office, we'll write it on my big whiteboard. At that point, I'm going to find out if you're a leader, if you can empower others, if you can get people moving. That's what we need to do. But you got to have one idea, just one. That's all it takes. Own it. Be yours. Be that entrepreneur. And if you want to reach your highest summit, I'm going to give you 3 things right now that you should focus on in 2020 as you conquer, okay? To get to your personal climb, the highest summit you can. Number 1, this sounds so generic, but you got to love every golfer. You got to love every golfer, one at a time. And everybody that works for you needs to do the same thing. Reverse the role. Their thoughts, their ideas first. Whatever they believe, they become your next line of ambassadors. Their vote matters. Influencers like you all know how to connect with those golfers. And that's what you need to do is connect. One face-to-face meeting, one impression can make a big difference. Influencers are also star communicators. Star communicators, yeah. They don't just talk, they have something to say. They have a message that matters. They make people think. They make people share. It's important. And influencers know how to own the room, the whole room. Everybody in it. They don't forget about the people here. They understand the people in the back that are too chicken to sit in the front because they think they might get called up. They own the room. They captivate an audience. You did a great job at it. Owning the room is big today. Influencers are master storytellers, and master storytellers create legions of followers. And each and every one of you has an experience from 2019 that is special, unique, and you need to own it and figure out a way to share it, figure out a way to get people moving. They also challenge the norm, because we all do these things certain ways, but we got to go to a different way. I tell people this all the time, don't follow the curve. My gosh, that's old. Set the curve. Set the curve. Do something nobody's thought of. Sharpen your game. Figure out a way to do something like, whoa, I never saw that before. Take the what, deliver the wow. Influencers are change agents. They can get you on one line of thinking moved over to another line of thinking because they've thought about the message and how they deliver it and how they get people thinking differently and moving differently. The influencer knows how to sell those ideas that they write down on a whiteboard or that they go into a meeting with or that become their ideas. That's important. That's what influencers know how to do. They can stand in a room and really present, and they can elevate brands. NGCOA, #elevate, NGCOA Canada. Elevate it. That's how you reach your highest summit. Simple stuff. If you're going to conquer 2020, I want you to think about that. And what I'm asking you is to spread your wings, okay? I'm asking you to go where you didn't think you could go before. I'm asking you to think differently about sharing your story and spreading your story and spreading your news to other people. It is so important today, more so than ever before. Get outside that comfort zone. Get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. That's how we get people to buy in. When we're not afraid, when we have no fear, when we're willing to do whatever it takes to take this game to the next level. I'll leave you with this. I've talked a lot about connection. I've talked about presenting. I've talked about the importance of communication and the importance of branding. The next time you get an audience, I want you to think about 2 images for me. 2. I don't care if the room's got 5 people, 50, 500. The first image is a globe, a world globe. Why? Because whether you've got an audience of 500, or just 1, your job is to take them inside your world. Yours. Whether you're sitting down, standing up. Your world, the world you live in, at your course, at your organization, at your business. The second image is a pair of headphones, noise canceling. Because in a world of short attention spans where people don't want to give you the time, you got to get them locked in. All the distraction is just noise. You got to get them locked into you. Once you do that, you'll get them to go share that story. You'll get them to have an opinion. You'll get them to be your influencer. Little American history for you all in here. How many of you have ever heard of William Dawes? William Dawes? You never talked about this in the 163 rounds of golf you play? 36. Whatever. How about Paul Revere? Raise your hand if you've ever heard of Paul Revere. Here's the deal, folks. They did the same thing on the same night. One took the northern route and one took the southern route. How come everybody only remembers Paul Revere? See, my line of thinking is this. In today's world, Paul Revere had season tickets to the Red Sox and the Patriots. He was a member at the YMCA, swam laps at 5:30 in the morning, then had coffee with all of his buddies afterwards. His wife was connected to the PTA. She did story time at the local library. Their kids played travel softball, travel hockey. They were all over the place. They knew everybody. Everybody knew the Reveres. The Dawes, they just stayed at home. They sat on their hands. They didn't make a move. They didn't create influence. They didn't connect. They didn't do anything. So on an important night in history, when one guy's riding around on a horse saying the British are coming, everybody knows that's Paul Revere. We got to pay attention to him. Another guy, who's that lunatic riding around on a horse, swinging a lantern around? Nobody knew him. Nobody knew him. See, it matters. Each and every one of you and this organization, myself, you. We need Paul Revere. We need a Paul Revere in big numbers. Golf needs Paul Revere. Your job is to get people to wave the flag of your organization. Your job is to get people to pay attention. That's what we have to do today. Anybody have any questions? There's people in the room with a microphone. Please raise your hand if you've got one. We've got a couple minutes for a few questions. Anything's fair game. Well, most anything. Yes, back on the right.
You said in your interviews you asked for people to list 3 things that separate them from other applicants. What was the best 1 or 2 answers that kind of stick in your mind that you got from applicants?
I will take from you whatever you give me and give you back something more impressive than what you expected when you gave it to me in the first place. Next. Anybody? Don't be afraid. Yes, sir. Let's get a microphone down here in the front. If you have a question, raise your hand now. They'll get the microphone to you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just to follow up with that, what was kind of the median age of the person or the people that you were interviewing for this particular position?
Well, they could have been 40, 50 if they were coming on to be on our executive team, right? They might have been 25, 26, 27 if they were going to come be on our communications team. As I said, I did not hire the best public speaker or presenter. I did not push their name forward because ultimately I don't need that. I can coach that. I can help them with that. What I need is somebody who's not just going to be an employee, who's willing to be an ambassador, who's willing to go out and communicate. You're not going to be on my communication team if you're afraid to communicate. That's just not the way it works. I need people who are ready to stand up and showcase women's golf if I was at the LPGA or whatever organization I am with. Did you have part 2?
No, but I was just quickly with so much social media that we have to deal with. Can I get an opinion on what you feel resonates more with the golf industry or people that want to join the golf industry?
Great question. Are you on Instagram?
Yes.
Are you on Snapchat? That was a trick question. I have 3 kids. I have 22, girl, boy twins, and then I have 18. And I have 2 girls, right? And on social media, one of them is going to get engaged via social media. That's how it's going to happen today. But anyway, they're always doing the picture and going, all this every time. I'm like, what are you doing? We're driving in the car, for gosh sakes. LinkedIn is huge. Instagram is becoming bigger. Now, if you own a golf course, you don't think you got a few great images? Here's where I would take it to the next level. For each and every one of you, find somebody. Don't you always do the talking. Find people that have experienced what's so special about your golf course, what's so special about your business. Interview them on the way out. Let them be your voice. That's what's important. That's the key. Yes, sir.
Kraig, golf in the Olympics.
Yes.
Can I get your comment on where we failed on that? I feel we should have done a better job with promoting it, but I'd just like to hear your...
Is that a direct jab? I was on the communications committee.
Yes.
So here's what I would say. I was in every one of those meetings with the PGA Tour, with every organization. I worked as a member of the international IGF, okay? And I was there in Rio. What was interesting, that Zika thing was real, and all of the shenanigans going on with the construction of the golf course were real. Brazil was not exactly ready when they needed to be, and it was tough sledding. And having interviewed a bunch of LPGA players about their interest in it, and then talking and listening to messages from PGA Tour players, there was a lot of trepidation. Now, I will tell you right now that Jordan Spieth is regretting his decision to have not taken advantage of that opportunity because it is not easy to be one of the top 3 or 4 American players, and he may never get a chance to do it again. That's how hard it is. So they all should have gone and supported it. The LPGA players were all in. I think one person said no. All right, but I understand why there was some nervousness. But at the same time, there were too many people involved within the organizations that were pushing forward a safe environment, of which it was. Now, it's not easy for the first time, but I can promise you right now, if Justin Rose's career ended tomorrow, he would put that gold medal way high on his list of achievements. And I can promise you one of Tiger Woods' goals for this coming year is to make that American team that's going to go to Tokyo. So there were definite challenges. Did they do a great job? I don't know that the players themselves took the messages of education and promoted it enough to say, we have to do this. But for golf to be included was massive. And everybody should have stepped up and done a better job. It will not be an issue in Tokyo, I promise you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
When you were working with the LPGA Tour, try to grow the brand, did you ever consider partnering with the PGA Tour, and or why the separation between the LPGA Tour and the PGA Tour?
If you dig into Google, you will find that the LPGA and the PGA Tour have an alliance, okay? They have an alliance, and it's right there together. And the actual construction of the new television deal, the PGA Tour is actually helping the LPGA. They're working feverishly to try to create more events, go hand in hand. There is a definite partnership. I was a part of that with Ty Votaw before I left the LPGA in 2016. So far greater than what your understanding of it is. There is a real alliance. It's important, okay? And it's big. Okay? I will be around afterwards for more questions. I want to share some closing thoughts. Some closing thoughts before I go. 2020 is big. 2019 has been successful for you all. We can't slow down. Can't do it. I sure hope you didn't show up here just to check a box, just to get your extra Marriott points. You got to be here for a real purpose and a real plan of attack. I need each and every one of you to think bigger and see a bigger picture in 2020. Not one small TV screen. I want you to think about a big one. Thinking bigger about where your organization, the NGCOA, can go. Thinking bigger about where the industry can go and where you'll go with it. And that means getting innovative, folks. That means being green. That means new ideas, new ways of thinking, challenging others, new growth opportunities, all that stuff. Day to day to day to day. On Sunday night, before you go to work on Monday, you got to be thinking about what am I going to accomplish this week that's meaningful. Not, hey, I'll be home at 5:30 tomorrow. How are we going to maximize our time? Each and every one of us, each of you here, has a collective list of achievements along your way, things you're proud of that you have been a part of, okay? I have mine. Those are the things that make me me for my story that help me go there. But yours are important. All of ours are important. I want you to take the color away from yourself this year. I want you to strip it down. And I want you to come up with a list of all the things, the building blocks of achievement, the platforms that you have had, all the cool things that you've gotten to do, who you've had a chance to influence, and where you've been at that time, and who you've impacted along the way. Write it down and start building your story. That is your story. See, we have to carve a niche. We are in a niche sport, golf. You are a niche organization within a huge industry of golf. How will you get noticed? Those building blocks are massive. If you want to be relevant, then you got to start focusing in 2020. If you're going to conquer it, you got to focus on things that are relevant. Don't waste your time on stuff that doesn't matter. The best of the best, the leaders upon leaders, those who reach their highest summit are the ones who focus their energy on things that can make a difference. Don't punch a clock. Focus on relevant things if you want to be relevant within your industry. And my challenge for you is this: find your voice. I said it at the beginning, and I'm leaving you with it now. I don't care if you've been in the industry for a week. I don't care if you've been in the industry for 30 years. You're here. Talk to people. Figure out what you're going to say. I remember a couple of quotes from my college days. I worked at a liquor store, great job. And the lady that owned it used to watch me on TV. And she'd come in there, she was 60 years old, and she'd say, "Hey, Kraig, I watched you last night." And I'm like, "Great, what'd you think?" She goes, "Well, let me tell you something right now. If you're not smiling, nobody's smiling. You got to smile more." You know, I never forgot it. It matters when you're connecting with an audience. The other thing is this quote that I've never forgotten from one of my professors. And he talked to us about the importance of an audience, the importance of gaining people to pay attention. And he said, you can't preach to anybody unless you can get them into the church in the first place. So what you have to say and to who you will say it to doesn't matter unless you get them in. You got to be a promoter. You got to be a recruiter. You got to have some sort of magnetic ability to get people to move. Communication is the link between ideas and action. Pay attention to that one, because we need people to take action. So if you're going to find your voice, I need you to figure out a way to get your audience. And then I need you to focus on these three things, which are the three things that I focus on, and it's my back pocket speech, which I won't give you right now, but I will say this. It's the 3 C's, and it's what I remember. Commitment is the biggest one. Do you have a commitment to what you're doing? Do you have a commitment to this organization? Do you have a commitment to the game and your time in it? Or are you in it because, frankly, there was nothing else to do? It's your choice. So if we're going to be there, let's do something with it. Number 2 is connection, one person at a time. Connect with people. Make people feel something when they leave, the time that they have with you. That's how we build a community. We have a commitment, we have a connection. And we need a bigger community in golf, and you need a bigger community within your organization as well. Have conversations, as Doug said, with everybody in here. Build yourself a bigger network. Build greater ambassadors. Get people moving. It's big, it's important. I need you to tell people your story. I need you to come up with your story. That's what corporate CEOs come up with. I'm not buying you at the NGCOA unless I buy Natalie first. I'm not buying your company unless I buy you first. So you got to have a story that clicks with me. Folks, we're on the clock. Every one of us. Time is short. Attention spans are short. Your time here is not a week or a month. It is just a couple of days. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with 2020? Tick, 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 tick. You going to make the most of it? It's big. Elevate. Elevate. I'll leave you with one short story. How many of you in here actually like college football? Raise your hand. One of my good friends is a prominent college football coach at a very, very big school. 9 years ago, he took a job on the first day at a major school in a Power 5 conference. And he went in there on his first day as his new head coach, 170 people in the room, all the players, all the coaches, all the administrators, everybody that was anybody at the university. And he started with this. He said, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am excited, but let me ask you a question. How many of you in this room want to win a national championship? Everybody in the room raised their hand. He paused, he waited, and then he said the following. You all are liars. Every one of you in this room is a liar, flat out liar. Because if you truly wanted to win a national championship, I wouldn't be standing here as your new football coach, now would I? You wouldn't have needed me. What you all are is wishers. That's what you are, you're wishers. And there's a difference between wanting something and wishing for something. Practice starts at 8 a.m. Wishers, they get there at 7:30. Throw the pads on quick, run out there. Don't go through anything more than the required drills. Do what they say And then they feel like the results will come. They don't push anybody. They worry about themselves. Practice starts at 8, a Wanner gets there at 6. Maybe lifts weights, does extra reps, runs stadium stairs, gets people outside their comfort zone, pushes them, lights a fire, challenges people to become better, bigger, bolder, brighter. Whatever it takes, they will do that, and then they will do more. That's what Wanners do. 9 years later, that coach fell one opportunity short of the greatest goal. But you know something? He did get to number 1 in the country. Didn't win a national championship, but got to number 1 in the country and fell 9 wins shy of becoming the winningest coach in school history during that time. That school was Mississippi State University. That coach is Dan Mullen, who's now the coach of the Florida Gators. I'm a Mizzou guy. We got throttled yesterday. And I tell Dan all the time, you know what? I think you're going to win a national title. I hope you do. I just hope you go 13-1 doing it. But the deal is, you fit into that story, and so do I. So my challenge is you walk out this door for your networking, and we go to that thing tonight. You're going to wish for a great year in 2020? You're going to wish for better results for your business and your golf course? You're going to wish for something better for your employees? Or are you going to want it? How do I know Dan? His wife, Megan West, for those of you that followed the Golf Channel for years, was my co-anchor on Golf Central for 2.5 years. We've been friends ever since. What are you going to do? Be a wisher or a wanter? This industry needs people who are willing to influence, connect, communicate, deliver, present, and influence. And it starts right now. Hashtag Elevate NGCOA Canada. Why do I do this instead of what I used to do in the comforts of a studio with 60 degrees and makeup, reading teleprompters? Because I just made 150 friends, I hope. And I love every bit of it. I know I'm going to elevate myself in 2020. I need you to do the same and conquer the year that is ahead. It is time to change course, folks, with thinking. Golf needs a brand new you. And I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to be on this stage and have a chance to speak to you today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.